Hey, AP Scholars, question 17 from Unit 9, Progress Check Multiple Choice Questions, is a real mean question. It's just messing with you, to be honest. It's got class silly, and it's no joke. It is a silly, silly class. No one would ever write this piece of code unless they were trying to mess people up on an AP Computer Science A exam. That is the only reason this exists. Oh, so what's the story? Well, I'll let you read it over, but it's a pretty big mess of a class. It's got two instance variables, var1 and var2, an int and a string, and you got to be really careful when you read through these because that's gonna be pretty important when it refers to var1 and var2. In addition, it's got this equals method. There's a constructor, of course. It doesn't do much. It does what you expect, but its parameter is of type object, which is a valid super. It is the superclass of everything. So you can. It basically we can send it any parameter, any object parameter. This line of code here, this if it's null, doesn't do anything, so we don't worry about that. But here's where we cast the object to being a variable of type silly. So s is going to be basically whatever we send it as a silly object. So big deal because when we all of these things are silly objects. So that's just a random hoop that they threw into the question. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. These will not these will not come into play at all. Really, this will always work. So you could basically assume that this is of type silly because other gets turned into a type silly object very quickly. So a lot of that is kind of smoke and mirrors. What's really going on here? So here's what happens. We're checking to see if var1 equals the other's var1. So var1 is the number. So yeah, here's an example where 5 and 5 match. And then we're checking to see if var1, notice there's no s, matches var2's length. So we're just checking internally to see if this number matches the length of our own string. That's why this one doesn't work here, 3 and this is length 4. So it's not even comparing like two objects things, because notice it's just var1 and var2. It might as well say this dot var1 and this dot var2 as opposed to s dot var1. So ouch, like what a mean little trick to throw in there, right? So it's actually comparing to see if this is the same as the length of this, not like, across stuff. So that's why S3 and S4 work because the length of the string matches this number. Last but not two, it checks to see if var2 dot length, its own length, which is in this case 5, this case 4, matches S2's variable dot length to see if these two things are the same length. So, that's why it ends up being the answer it is. S3 dot equals S4 because, S3 and S4, these numbers match, the length matches that number, and these are the same length. Something like S1 equals S2, it's true that these numbers match and these number matches, or sorry, these two things are the same length, but this number does not match internally with the length of this one. Which is like, why would that even be a consideration in comparing two objects? In other words, if these two numbers are not the same, then it can never be equal to anything else, even if it's clearly equal to something else. So what a messy question. Congratulations if you got that one, because woof, what a sneaky that was. So thanks for all your efforts on these questions, and I look forward to hearing more questions. Let me know if you need some clarification on these. Thanks, everybody.